Well, hey there, Becky. How you doing today?
I'm good, Tara. How are you doing?
I am wonderful.
Good.
Now that we have passed through the spring school choice application windows and everybody's kind of finishing up and getting their paperwork in and process finished, I think it's a good time to sit back and encourage parents on how to kind of reset for the summer and get ready for what's coming in the fall.
I love that idea. The spring was so busy and there was always so much going on. And I think a summer reset is just what we need.
Well, I'm most excited for the states that just, for the first time, enacted school choice, like Texas. I mean, how exciting is that, right?
It's so exciting.
And Idaho, and those that had enhanced their programs,
Mhm.
Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina. I mean, look at all of the different things that are available for families now.
Yeah, there's so much. And I just love seeing school choice just spread nationwide. It's awesome.
Well, I know that when I was in that driver's seat, when I realized, "Oh my goodness, I just made application. I'm waiting for news, or I just received news that the scholarship was received." And then I thought, "Oh my gosh, what did I do? I'm now driving the proverbial bus. Like, it's all on me. I
Yeah.
need to make sure that, checks are received and signed, and how does that process work?" And I know things have changed a lot since then. They now have class wallets and
Yep.
different ways to keep track of your expenditures. So, I thought it would be good to sit down with you today and just kind of iron out some of those ways that families could reset themselves for the summer, make good use of their time, whether they had children with special needs or typical children, maybe come up with some activities, some things that are coming out, and then also just a little nugget preparing for that federal tax credit scholarship that is looming
Yes.
come 2027. So,
Yep.
what do you think about that, Becky?
I think that's great, Tara. I love it.
Well,
Start us
one
off.
okay, I'll start you off. One of my big things, even when I taught the life skills and socialization class when I helped run the program that Sam ultimately became part of, was the recreation piece.
Hmm.
That's my background. That's the part that really excites me because we all need to have a moment to slow down. And if we stop and think about, oh my goodness, summer months are here, we all know how fleeting they are, how quickly time passes. But how important is it to take a little bit of time and to recreate, but also to help our kids make good use of that time? Wouldn't you agree?
I totally agree. And I think that summer is a great time to try out new things because then you can get a sense if you want to pick it up in the fall or if you're like, nope, this is not going to work. I'm not going to spend any more time on it.
I love it. I love it. Well, for me, I generally, with my students, and this is a little bit more, sounds a little more academic, if you will, and a little less like recreating. But one of the things that I did was really do some interest inventories with the kids. And I think parents have a great opportunity, and even teachers that are coming home and that are with their students, look at things that your student has an interest in, especially if your child is making a switch. What
Hmm.
if they're going to be homeschooled? What if you've chosen micro schools or a private school? What if you've switched over through open enrollment and decided to use a different public school? What varied extracurricular or academic or even athletic opportunities are available for the students in those different arenas? So I think it's really important, rather than throwing everything at the child, instead to do an interest
I'm
inventory.
laughing because I've done that before. Just
Me too. Right. Pick from it. And they're so overwhelmed, right? I
yeah.
mean, the kid is like, "What are you doing to me?"
Hmm.
And really all you want them to do is be able to have a well-rounded experience.
Yes.
Obviously, if you planned on your child taking advantage of camps and theater programs, you're probably behind the eight ball as far as getting signed up for those things because, as we both know, registration fills up quickly for summer activities, especially
Yep.
for working parents. However, if you happen to be a parent that is at home, you have a little bit more time to make those adjustments and to find some things. And I found, Becky, I don't know about you, that there's so many free things that you can do
Hmm.
within your community. if you're dealing with the arts, if you're dealing with outdoor activities and programs, and really just scouring your events page within Facebook
Yes.
area, right? I mean,
Yep.
so many options. But I think it's all going to come down to interest and reviewing with the child, even just through basic dialogue. I mean, imagine if the child came home and you guys were cooking over dinner and you decided to talk about things maybe. So tell me some of the things that you're interested in, and they really don't have anywhere to go, but you start prodding
Yeah.
with some really good questions to figure out, and you are able to probably nail down some activities that your child never even imagined participating in.
Exactly.
I know that Samuel really, really wanted to play a musical instrument. And though he doesn't really have a fine tuned ear towards that,
A
he does
polite way
like,
of stating that.
right. I know I'm trying really hard. But my husband and I were like, you know what, whatever you want to do. And we had a little keyboard that we got when the kids were really little. And he used that for years. And we signed him up for piano lessons. And the piano teacher was like, I'm not seeing a Mozart's here. However, his enthusiasm for the craft is unbelievable, and of course, I love having him as a student, and so we participated in doing that, and then his brother-in-law upgraded his keyboard and then gave him, his old one. Yeah, which was a much more, and he even brought it with the keys marked and everything, and
Yeah.
Sam still to this day in his has stayed up with twice a day a little concerto for Lou and I, um, and it's
Oh,
always
I love that.
but even still, that's an interest piece
Yes.
that had we not delved into, hey, what would you like to do? We would have never put that in front of
Hmm.
him. We wouldn't have thought that. So this, I think, is a great opportunity for parents to be able to reach out and say, what are some things that you could do? And then highlight. I always chose 5 items, 5 things, and then we rotated those 5 interest levels every quarter. So we always had more for the summer. I
Hmm.
always kept I always kept a running list of academic but non-academic things that they needed to do over the summer. I was
Hmm.
always fearful of them falling behind in reading and math. You hear so much of that, the summer slide piece,
Yes.
and teachers
It's
really kind
real.
of, yeah, yeah, it's real. And as a teacher, I mean, if students step away, you're playing catch up the first quarter, right?
Yeah. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Absolutely, and we're seeing that now with Samuel's delays. But then also, my younger daughter just recently said to me, Mom, I haven't picked up my ukulele and I don't even remember how to play it. I need to go back and watch some YouTube lessons over that. So you really anything. If we
Yeah.
don't use it, we lose it. So I think it's important to go ahead and help them narrow down some activities that they can do, and then help them create a list that would be useful, that if they chose that they really like that they could use it then going forward into the school year. What are some
Yes.
things that you would recommend?
Well, I'll say, first of all, from personal experience, we're doing that same thing with Izzy. She took photography class last year, and the it was a good experience. I wanted her to use the camera more, and honestly, part of it is we've invested this money in this tool, so let's get a little more use out of it. And after prodding her, it turns out she simply has not felt comfortable using it without instruction, like just playing with it and using it.
Oh,
So she and I talked about how she can, or what we can do to facilitate that. So she's developing this project of going around town. I don't want to give away too many details because I want this to be a grand surprise at the end of the summer. But she is going to photograph some things around town and create a little book, a little product at the end that she can showcase what she's done as far as picture taking. And it was just we actually went yesterday, and it was really neat to watch her
mhm.
figure it out.
Yes.
And I think that is also an important piece of the summer is take some time. I'm very guilty as a teacher and as a parent to be like, okay, come on, let's go, let's do this. And just so we can check the box,
Mm,
right?
right.
And I realized, you know what, that's not doing anybody any good. Maybe it does good with some kids. It does not do good with my. I don't do well with my kids doing that. So we just, we're going at her pace, and she's doing her thing, and it was just fun to be the driver, taking her places, helping her get out and about to take pictures of what she wants to take pictures of. So I first of all encourage parents, let them have some time and space to breathe and to figure out what they want to do. I For us, we also go up to the library, and we do have a cafe in our library, so
Oh,
that is an
bougie.
added incentive to we're going to go to the cafe, and then we're going to look at the books, and then we'll check out some books. And then there's also a gift shop. And Tara, you know that we like our merch, so we stop by the gift shop on our way out. So it's a whole experience. It's not just about the books, but we also connect with the librarians who are helpful, and we have developed relationships with them. So it's all encompassing. It's not just one task. Like when we go to the library, it's not just one thing. We're connecting with the librarians. We are purchasing things. We're using our math skills in the merch shop and the cafe. So I think it's a well-rounded experience, and it works for us.
I love it. I love it. And I want to encourage parents to be thinking of that right there, a well-rounded experience. Going to the grocery store is not just we got to go quickly pick up some items that we need for our list. Instead, you can actually weave in educational experiences and developmental experiences for your children, especially during the summer when maybe things aren't quite so crazy.
Exactly.
Making the list, determining
Yes.
the budget, working with the money, utilizing coupons or digital, coupons and ads.
Mhm. Yep.
The actual trip itself, one thing that I did not only for my students in the class, but I always did it with my kids was I would give them the incentive. If you save however much you save on the grocery bill with clipping the coupons and finding the matching and what's on the weekly special and all that, you get to pocket at the end. So and
Ooh.
so when I yeah, and so when I would get to the grocery store, I'd just find that little bench at the front of the store and I'd be like, "Go at it." And it would be hilarious because it also, just like with the library, the grocery store can be a really, really
Yes.
interactive opportunity. They have to talk to the checkout person. They were not
Yep.
allowed to use self checkouts. I'm like, no, 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 no. That's like later when you're, graduating. You don't need to use that. You need to be able to look somebody in the eye. I'm sorry, how much was that? Okay, make change, all the things. And it was fabulous, and they did it every single week, and we did that intentionally because I think it's important for us to work with the finances,
Yes.
to look at, any life skill that maybe your child needs some extra help on. If you're a
Mhm.
working parent, how about create meals on Sunday or Saturday with your child? Sit down, create a menu, have the student or your I say student because I'm so used to teaching, but have your child make a list of all the things that you have in the pantry and
Yep.
then make a list for those meals of things that need to be done at the grocery store and help them find the recipes. And they could, if they're old enough, obviously, you wouldn't put a youngster in charge of this, but if they're old enough, have them really initiate preparing the meals for the family. It's a wonderful way to connect, to help the working parent, especially if student children are home by themselves. It creates some independence, but also some leadership rules, and it kind of helps carry the load. So these are some things that just some suggestions to reset your summer, to maybe dial back a little bit, to kind of wipe the slate clean.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that was the past. Now we're starting something new, but to
Mhm.
take some time to reinvent some new rhythms, some
Yes.
new routines, right? To
Yep.
look at some different opportunities that parents can dive in and create a comfort level, but also one that can also create a lot of enthusiasm for the activities you're doing now, for
Yes.
connection, right? To
Yep.
connect with your child and also to build, like you said, you're creating a memento for this particular project that you're doing, to be able to look back and see, hey, look at what we did with our time in the summer, and now something to maybe look forward to,
Yes.
this new opportunity as this application comes in. Is there anything else you want to share? Maybe some suggestions or anything else that you'd like to put before parents?
Yeah, just talking about the grocery store piece, Izzy and I have recently started, and again, it's one of those things that when I'm in the kitchen, I'm trying to get things done and
Right.
be quick and get it over with and be done. And we decided to go on Pinterest and find some freezer meals that we can prepare ahead of time. We spent 4 hours in the kitchen one afternoon making these freezer meals that now we are enjoying. And in my head, I'm thinking, okay, we could do this every couple weeks.
Yes.
And I want this to carry on into the fall. Like I'm
Yes.
thinking if we, because I'll be honest with you, Tara, the first couple times we were in the kitchen doing stuff, and I'm kind of over her, and she's blocking my way here, and I'm just like, this is stressing me out, and
Mhm.
and that's the human condition. Like we have
Yes.
our ways, we have what we want to do and how we want to do it, and then when somebody else comes in, it's like, oh, I kind of like a scared cat almost, just kind of yeah. And so I will say that we have found our rhythm in the kitchen,
Yes.
and I have high hopes that we can just continue this rhythm in the fall and the spring. And I, I think we are making routines that will carry Izzy into her adulthood. Like this, she's learning now, and she's going to carry this with her. And will she always love to be in the kitchen? Probably not, because Lord knows I don't always like to be in the kitchen. But these are life skills,
Yep.
and I think we need to take the time um, to make these things happen for their future, for the good of their futures.
I love it. Well, you said a couple things in there that reminded me of something that I wanted to talk about. When specifically for parents that have children with special needs, like the both of us. I mean, we have typical children and children with needs, and you know, preparing with the end in mind. I think it's important no matter what type of child you have. So many parents get to graduation day and go, oh my gosh, I forgot. I forgot this thing. And one of the coolest things was given to me early on. And sadly, it was just specifically for Samuel. But early on, I was handed a folder and it was printed all over the place, front and back, inside. It was printed and it was called, you know what I'm talking about, the
Mm-hmm.
backwards planning folder.
Yep.
And they said, okay, so when he turns 14 to 16, we're going to start planning. And I said, doesn't it look like we're a little late to the party? Like, like 14, 16, we've already developed like routines and he's already
Yep.
developed a personality. And if he decided that he didn't want to do X, Y, and Z, it isn't going to happen. Why are we waiting until 14 to 16? And I thought, this is so goofy. This should be given right after you walk out of the delivery room. Really,
Yeah.
as a parent, you should be given this backwards planning folder for educational pieces for every child.
Yes.
What
Absolutely.
about you should be looking at this child as they develop and as you start instilling their moral character and looking at that and going, what do I want them to know and what will be important and then on the all the way down the road, every parent could be gathering the resources that are necessary to fill
Mm-hmm.
those gaps. Nothing is worse than getting up to the starting line and going, oh my gosh, I forgot the backpack. And that is what happens to so many parents because society or the system tries to
Mm-hmm.
tell them that this is just the way we do it and we wait and just get in line and we're going to conveyor belt you right on through. And then they wonder why so many children aren't meeting the grade or aren't
Right.
passing the class. Well, because there were a few things that needed to go in that backpack along the way. So I say to parents, start with the end in mind. And I did it with the girls. I knew, I started quizzing them early on. What do you think? Do you want to go to college? No, neither one of them wanted to go to college. However, my parents blessed them with some college money, and they were very, very flexible with it. They said, you get this money when you further your education after high school. And we don't care if you want to go to shop. We
Mm-hmm.
don't care if you want to go to community school, if you go to 4-year degree, if you become a cosmetology, if you go to cosmetology school, if you become an
Yeah.
electrician, you just need to further your education. And so my girls, from the time they were little girls, were planning, how can I get my hands on those funds? And both girls miraculously, I know, right? What a great incentive though. And,
Yeah.
they got it invested. It wasn't a whole lot of money, but it was enough to make a very significant dent
Yeah.
in whatever choice they made. And
Yeah.
so they started with the end in mind. For Samuel, I did the same thing. I was like, well, We're not looking at Mozart here. We're not going to be a chemist. We're not going to be a doctor. Those skills just aren't before us. But what are we going to do? What is he interested in? So I had to pay a little bit more attention to his interest level.
Sure.
But we were able to use that backward plan all the way up. And lo and behold, I was able to gather supplies and resources and tools to help him make it down the road. And so I say to parents, that's what the summer reset is all about.
Hmm.
Throw the old out and go, you know what, we're going to reset. We're
Yeah.
starting something new. Let's try a different path. Let's reconstruct. Let's think about what does the end look like. And I tell parents that maybe we're a little late to the party. Hey, you know what? It's okay. If you
Yeah.
only have one summer left, if you only have to make the most of that, gather those tools now, make the most of it, and toss the rest out. It's
Yeah.
not going to matter. And then that will help you avoid those cliffs that everybody talks about, that you stand on this cliff and you don't have what you need. But if you're working towards it all along and your children are working towards it all along, not only are you going to be building wonderful memories, but you're going to be providing them with all that they need to be successful in life.
Yes. Yes. 100%.
I love it. Well, before we go ahead and let our listeners go, is there any last minute information that you want to share, Becki?
I just want to encourage parents again. Don't try to rush through the summer. Sometimes we get caught up in different sports or activities or theater or whatever, which is all great. But take some time to evaluate your routines, your schedules, your rhythms, and see what you can tweak this summer before school starts up again in the fall. Because, like you said, Tara, the summer does go by quickly. And before we know it, we're back on a school schedule. And sometimes we just need to tweak some things now to make sure that our fall is better prepared.
I love it. And parents, for those of you that decided to make choice a reality in your family's life, I want to congratulate you. I want to congratulate you on gathering up all that information that you needed in order to get that application in. I want to applaud the states that decided that the children of their state belong to the families and those decisions needed to be made by them. And I want to encourage you, as Becki said, make the very most of your summertime, whether it be sipping an iced tea out on the veranda or walking through the wilderness with your children in a community park. Enjoy yourself, create some rhythms, and really look forward to what you have on the horizon. Thanks for
Yes.
joining us for another episode of Tuesday Talks with Mom, and we'll see you again